There has never been a more critical moment to discuss Donald Trump's cover-up of his connection to Jeffrey Epstein and the crimes tied to it. Trump seems to believe that simply pretending to support the release of the Epstein files or signing a bill into law will convince people he has always been on the side of transparency. But that's not true. He is only trying to hide the cover-up behind a new tactic, and it isn't working. Not inside the government and not outside it. Today's release of court filings alleging new, deeply disturbing Trump-Epstein child crimes makes that clear, and the potential consequences are serious. We're going to break down this lawsuit. But before we do, please leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps support our work. Now, before we dive into these filings and what they claim about the trafficking ring Trump was allegedly running, I want to begin with what Kash Patel told Adam Schiff when asked about Epstein's trafficking network. Patel insisted no one else was involved, a claim today's new evidence directly undermines.
They won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're
inmates.
Not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet before I go.
So Kash Patel, someone who might have contributed more Epstein conspiracy theories than anyone else in this administration, of course, right up until the moment when they could actually release information about Jeffrey Epstein that would be damaging to Donald Trump. Kash Patel, who has said we need to get all the documents out, that this is the biggest scandal in history again, up until the moment it was going to hurt Donald Trump. He's now saying, and this is incredibly important, there was no one else involved. And why is Kash Patel trying to make that case to us? Why does he want us to believe that there was no one else involved? Because while Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Donald Trump can stall information coming out of the DOJ, they can stall information coming out of the FBI, what they cannot stall, what they cannot stand in the way of, is subpoenas going out to other individuals who are involved in this trafficking ring. That is why Kash Patel wants to say there is no one else involved. You do not need to look into this. Please be distracted. Turn your attention somewhere else. There is no one else who can speak ill of Donald Trump. That is what he is saying. It is a farce. It is a beyond inconceivable lie that he is telling. It is why Adam Schiff gave so much pushback, and it is why today we are learning about just how expansive this trafficking ring is, with a new lawsuit alleging some serious crimes against Donald Trump that I want to get into right here. Trump slapped with massive lawsuit alleging Epstein identical trafficking operation. Donald Trump has been slapped with a $310 million lawsuit alleging the president engaged in a trafficking venture that was identical in every material respect to the trafficking operation allegedly spearheaded by Jeffrey Epstein. Filed on November 24th in Palm Beach County, the lawsuit names Trump in both his individual and official capacity as president, alongside Tesla founder and Trump ally Elon Musk and Microsoft founder Bill Gates, both of whom have spent time inside Epstein's home, according to reports, and in Musk's case, his own admission. The plaintiffs in the lawsuit, whose names have been redacted, accuse Trump and others of operating an 8-year trafficking and exploitation venture that began in 2018 that has continued and escalated under the current Trump administration. According to an uncertified copy of the lawsuit published and reported on Tuesday by the hyper-local news outlet Bokeh News. Now, specifically, the plaintiffs accuse Trump of grooming the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit, an unnamed minor on whose behalf the lawsuit was filed starting in 1998, the exact year the plaintiff was born. They accuse Trump of using Gates' foundation as the primary cover and silencing mechanism to continue the operation, as well as facilitating coordinated sexual assaults. The plaintiffs also allege that the minor plaintiff's infant daughter was taken for her as punishment for filing lawsuits, which they argue was identical to Epstein's use of custody threats against mothers who sued. Additionally, the plaintiff accused Trump and the others named defendants of having attempted to murder the plaintiff no fewer than on 5 separate occasions between 2023 and November of this year, including by way of poisoning, vehicular assaults, and orchestrated physical attacks designed to appear accidental. Trump is not facing any active criminal charges and has and continues to deny any wrongdoing as it relates to Epstein, who died in 2019, awaiting trial on trafficking charges. The plaintiffs in the case are seeking at least $310 million in damages, more than $134 million in attorney's fees, and injunctive relief that would include the immediate return of full legal and physical custody of the lead plaintiff's daughter. They also ask the court that the trial be expedited so that the trial by jury is held by December 20th. I find this incredibly important, considering that one of the under-discussed stories in the Epstein files was a lawsuit that was going to be brought forward against both Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein by a minor who had allegedly been assaulted by both men. This has not been covered because it did not go forward. It did not continue. Of course, we know there were lots of threats used by these two men. But this is just incredibly important to continue to talk about, especially again as Donald Trump is focused on silencing any person with connection to him or to Epstein. And the most obvious example is Ghislaine Maxwell, who's happily spent time in prison is still not covered nearly enough. Jamie calling out right here.
Well, that's right. All these emails, of course, completely debunk and discredit what Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche when he went over and engaged in that sweetheart interview with her. Now his defense to this, we didn't have all of the emails from the Epstein estate. First of all, I find that almost impossible to believe. If you look at the index of what was seized by the FBI, and includes 40 computers from Jeffrey Epstein, 26 storage drives, for a total of I think it's more than 300 gigabytes of material. So the idea that his emails weren't in there is ridiculous. And of course, they probably didn't look. If they were in there, they never looked for them, because the very first thing they did when they took over the Department of Justice was they summoned all of the prosecutors' materials that had been assembled over the years, and they declared the case over. They shut it down before they looked at anything. But let's assume that he knew what he was talking about and he was telling the truth, that they were not in there. Obviously, the thing to do now is to say, okay, we're going to have a second round of interviews with the witness here, with Ghislaine Maxwell, now that we have all of these emails that completely debunk and undermine what it was she was saying. But they're not going to make any movement in that direction, of course, because they just want the whole thing to go away. And all of it invites the question, in what capacity has he been acting? Is it as Donald Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer, or is it as the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, who's interested in protecting victims and future victims from a billion-dollar child sex predator ring that operates or operated or has operated all over the world? And so, maybe he was operating as Donald Trump's emissary to determine, one, that she would say nothing untoward about Donald Trump, and two, to see whether she was going to be cooperative enough to actually merit a pardon from Donald Trump. So he's acting kind of like a pardon attorney. Well, he obviously will do anything that Donald Trump tells him to do. I think what it is that Congress needs to do at this point is to say that we completely oppose a pardon for this convicted child sex offender who continues to lie about both Jeffrey Epstein and also about Donald Trump, if these emails are to be credited.
Ghislaine Maxwell is essentially living in a five-star resort, funded by taxpayers like you and me. We're footing the bill for her delivered meals, her oversized room that's 4 times bigger than what other inmates get, her yoga sessions, and even her access to a puppy. A video even showed her strolling outside on a sunny day with an umbrella for shade. Maxwell is enjoying a cushy fake prison lifestyle because she holds damaging information on Donald Trump. And many others have just as much dirt. They're staying silent out of fear of retaliation, not because they expect a pardon. But their voices matter, and this conversation has to continue. We'll be keeping it front and center on this show. If you want to support that, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.